Hello everybody, so now we've got this Whiscombe stuck in the milling machine. I'm going to cut these pockets. And I realize that the holes are slightly shifted forward from where they were originally. Some of that might be accounted for by the little bit of gap. It's not really a gap, but the wood didn't fit perfectly together. A little bit it might be that. A little bit might be that if I paid more attention to how the action was fitting in the inletting, maybe I could have moved the action back a little bit. But we're talking such a tiny amount, it's not worth slowing the project up anymore to do all that to save what might be a 1/16 of an inch at most. I think that the pockets are going to be cover all of this resin-filled area. Well, we're going to find out. And so I'm using a center finder. The other end is an edge finder. I've shown this before. There's two pieces here, a barrel that's held in the chuck and then this piece that can float around, and I adjusted the milling table in X and Y until I can feel that it's smooth. I also try to shake it, because in the center stand you think you're tight in the hole, but usually it takes several times of wiggling and it's still actually loose, and go up in Z a little bit until it's really tight. So there we go. There we go. That is found. The end ones are going to be fun. It's going to be fun to hold it in the vise and somehow support the stock. So I thought I'd start with the easy ones, because I don't have a clear vision yet of how I'm going to do that. If I recorded everything I did the first time, I could review back. How did I do that? Alright, so I already checked the height of the head of the socket head cap screw is such that if I hold it short, a little chamfer at the top of the bit should be close. I'm going to go that far and then check it and probably go a little bit deeper. I'm going to lose a little bit of material because of sanding, but not too much. I already hit it pretty good. Still see some itty grit scratches, but alright, here we go. Now looks like a challenge. I don't think that's going to be enough. Just wanted to stop and check. And it's not. Yeah, leans a little bit more because of the curve there. It's flush on this side, sticking up on that side. I'd say you just a little bit more. Yep, and I should go find a couple of lock washers and make sure it fits with a lock washer, although a person could just choose to Loctite it in and not use a washer. I think that's going to be good though, but I am going to go find a washer and just check that. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the other easy hole, and then I'll turn the camera back on and you and I can figure out how the heck I'm going to drill those way out on the end. So this one adjusted up pretty quick and easy. It's firm, it feels smooth and centered. I think I have a good feel now for how far to go. That was not far enough, but I couldn't see what I was doing with all that swarf flying around. I tried the fit on the other side with a washer, and it was just a little bit proud, nicely recessed without it. The way I got the stock and the action in the mail, it was not using washers. So I think I'm going to probably leave those out, but I'm making the pockets deep enough that if somebody wanted to, the head of the bolt would only be a little bit raised above the surface. Alright, hold on, I forgot what I was doing. Okay. I mean, I knew what I was doing. I just wanted to have a fresh image in my head of how much further I wanted to go. Yeah, looks good. Almost want to go just a tiny bit more. I think I will. Yep, I like it. Okay, so now I'm going to reposition the vise all the way to, yeah, how am I going to do that? I'll figure this out and get back to you. Okay, this is what I come up with, if you can see it with the confusion of the background there. So I've got the stage moved all the way over to one side, and then I got a block underneath the this end of the stock, and of course it still wants to tip off the end here because it's cantilevered. Okay, there we go. But I've got it snugged up here in the vise with the rubber sheet. It seems pretty secure. This guy's going to be flopping around, so we're kind of hand hold this and push it up into the drill bit a little bit, like you probably saw I was doing on the first two cuts. center finder back in. The weight being so off-centered makes Z a little less than smooth. I mean, it is smooth, it's just a little harder to move in Z than normal. Alright. Now I adjusted X and Y until I can feel smoothness. Or I don't know if you can see how that separates. There, see, as I move it, this separates, and then I'm making it until it's flush. Oops. Yeah, like that. That was not an oops. Sometimes I grab the raw knob. So a trick I like to do is when I'm doing a long repetitive task, usually there's only two knobs that get used, one is stationary. I put a rag around the do not touch knob. Just so if, without looking, if I reach out and accidentally grab the wrong knob, I have a tactile reminder. That's not it. Okay, it's a little hard to do, so we have some flexibility here. It's feeling good. Okay. This one's hard to do. I'm going to go with that. Maybe just a little bit in X. Other way. Other way. Well, let's see, I want to go in. It's this way a tiny bit. Alright, it's hard to do, but I'm going with this. Alright, so this is one of the pretty off center holes. This is 7/16 Forstner, which by the way is not a common size. That is a mail order from China kind of size. By that I mean you're not likely to find it at the hardware store. Alright. Here we go. I was looking at this other vise, wondering if I changed vices, if it'd be better, but I don't think so. to get a block in there. I can't pull it up good enough, so hold on, I'll be back. Block inserted, let's see if this goes a little better. Oh, hey, happy days. We completely removed the splue. That is fantastic. There might be the barest hint of it on the one part of the circle, but I mean, it's gone. There is just a, maybe once it's finished we might be able to see it a little better. There is actually a little hair of fill material visible in one little section there. Alright, hold on. I forgot already how far I gotta go. Just a little bit further. Yeah, I think I like it. Maybe just a tiny bit more. Oh, so picky. Just a tiny bit more. Now I don't remember if this was the worst side or if the other side was worse for risk of that fill material being visible. We'll find out here in a minute. Let me get just a little more here. Yes, sir. Beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Ooh, that heated up the Forstner. Hutchamama. Okay, whatever that means, that's probably cultural approbation, is that what they call it? Ah, darn, it's so hard to be politically correct these days. Suppose the older we are, the harder it is. Alright, oh good, I think that was the worst side. And it looks great. Maybe you might be able to see there's a faint hint on the aft part of the hole. I rather doubt that's going to be visible. It's really tiny. This came out great. Well, the thing that's not too great is the hole's not all that well centered. There. That was hard. I thought I was centered. Well, it's alright. It fits. Can't do anything about it now. Don't want to make the hole bigger. Could drill it out and rebed the center of the hole again. I don't think it's an issue. And this is my tallest vise. I can't, I don't have a vise big enough to catch the top and bottom of the forearm. So, I'm just going to do it. Got a wedge, a wood wedge over the block, so I can take up that space. That looks good. Yeah, see, this it just floats. I can't get the top forearm into the vise. I could get some blocks in here and see if that'll help. So hold on, I'll be back. Well, I added a couple of plywood blocks on either side to, you know, like extend the jaws of the vise up, but it still wiggles around. Just gonna have to do the best I can. The other hole is usable. I wish it were perfect. But I guess considering the alternative, which was a very valuable piece of garbage, I guess it's not that bad. I mean, as significant a repair as we had to do to this, if some things are a little less than perfect, I think it's to be understood. Well, I certainly hope the client sees it that way, because there's not a lot I can do about it now. Maybe I'm just cheaper by the minute. Nobody's going to notice. It's going to look like it's custom. Custom stuff's never perfect. Well, custom handmade. Actually, even CNC. A lot of trial and error before you get good cuts. And if it's a one-off project, you don't have that trial and error opportunity. Now, of course, all you out there with 3D printers, you're probably nodding. You get it. Twisting, twisting. All the care I made on the other side and it still came out off center. Darn. I'm perseverating over it. It's a tiny thing. I think it might preclude the use of a washer, though. The head of the screw is pretty close to the periphery of the hole, so probably doesn't have room for a lock washer. Loctite is your friend. And I'm pretty sure that this did not use lock washers to begin with. I think it'll be fine. I get these huge panic attacks when things aren't perfect. Alright, that feels good. And you know, the other thing I did, and I didn't even see it coming, is I let it make a scratch first, and I dropped it down in Z so I could visually see if it looked like it was cut in a circle that was centered. And it looked good. It's just a little off. Darn it. Well, I like to say, why do less than perfection if you're capable of perfection? But the downside to that philosophy is when things come out less than perfect, I really beat myself up over it. Because I expect perfection. If we pay attention, the thing about this work is it's very difficult to put the material back. Once it's cut out, it's gone. Alright, so we'll do this again. We still have some looseness, but it does seem a little more secure than the last one. So I'm going to make a starter cut and drop it down and look at it, you know. Looks good. Looks like we're getting all of the fill material removed. Alright, can't see what I'm doing. Can you see what I'm doing? This thing in the way? Yeah, I think you can see. Oh, got that one perfect first try. It's exactly where I wanted it. And that one's perfectly centered in its hole. Now I am using a very small hole. 7/16 is smaller than normal. I like, because the original slotted head screws on most of our European air guns are larger diameter than a socket head cap screw. So by me using a 7/16 inch hole, is quite, that was just a recoil pad, is, see, that one came out perfect. And this one is just a little off center. 2 foot away test. I don't think anybody's going to notice. What matters is the bolt fits into the action perfectly. The action fits the stock perfectly. Really, it clips in, the action is clipping into the stock like a glove or like some kind of machined part. Because of the glass bedding, it's an absolutely perfect fit. So at this point, I'm going to start sanding and get some oil on this thing. And I will check back in with you as I go through that, because it's going to be a lot of fun to go from, we zoomed all the way out here, yep, to go from this sanded blah appearance, and with 1 or 2 coats of oil it's going to be back to popping with that gorgeous feather figure. Okay everybody, haven't asked you in a while. If you're so inclined, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. The other thing that would really help is to hit the thumbs up, the like button. Share it if you're so inclined. Comment if you like. And thank you all very much for your support. It's a really small channel. I'm not making any money at it. But, you know, I have daydreams. Someday, maybe, I need a dust extraction system for the shop. Be nice to make a little extra money on the side. I certainly don't make enough money doing this work to buy the infrastructure that I need. Hey, just jumping back in real quick with a quick PS. I just tried it with the lock washer and that off-center hole, and it's not that off-center. The washer fits. No problems. Okay, bye.